Carrie Woods Explorers. I'm so glad to see you today. We are going to be reading the story The Dot today. Some of you might know this book. We had it in our center or book center in the art classroom. So if you got to go to the book center after you did your artwork, you might have seen this book there. This book is about a little girl who's very frustrated. And we're going to see what happens to her in the story. This book is called The Dot by Peter H. Reynolds. And that's the opening page, The Dot. Art class was over, but Vashti sat glued to her chair. Her paper was empty. Vashti's teacher leaned over the blank paper. "Ah, a polar bear in a snowstorm," she said. "Very funny," said Vashti. "I just can't draw." Sometimes we all feel that way, huh? Her teacher smiled. "Just make a mark and see where it takes you." Vashti grabbed a marker and gave the paper a good, strong jab. There. Ooh, she is not very happy, huh? Her teacher picked up the paper and studied it carefully. She pushed the paper toward Vashti and quietly said, "Now sign it." Vashti thought for a moment. "Well, maybe I can't draw, but I can sign my name." And you guys know how to do that too. You learned how at Carrie Woods School. The next week when Vashti walked into art class, she was surprised to see what was hanging above her teacher's desk. It was the little dot she had drawn, her dot, all framed in swirly gold. I can make a better dot than that. She opened her never-before-used set of watercolors and set to work. Vashti painted and painted a red dot, a purple dot, a yellow dot, a blue dot. The blue mixed with the yellow, she discovered that she could make a green dot. Vashti kept experimenting, lots of little dots in many colors. If I can make little dots, I can make big dots too. Vashti splashed her colors with a bigger brush on bigger paper to make bigger dots. Vashti even made a dot by not painting a dot. At the school art show a few weeks later, Vashti's many dots made quite a splash. Look at all those dots she made. That's a lot of work. Vashti noticed a little boy gazing up at her. "You're a really great artist." "I wish I could draw," he said. "I bet you can," said Vashti. "Me? No, not me. I can't draw a straight line with a ruler." Vashti smiled. She handed the boy a blank sheet of paper. "Show me." The boy's pencil shook as he drew his line. Vashti stared at the boy's squiggle, and then she said, "Please sign it." The end. Now, I think sometimes we all feel like we can't draw or we don't have an idea. But with a little bit of help from other people and encouragement, we can all make something beautiful. And I'm going to show you what we're going to do for art today. Today for our art activity, we are going to be making our very own dot. You can make a dot using some very simple art supplies. Crayons, paper, and we need some things to trace to make circles or dots. I have a bottle cap to make tiny dots. I have the top to a container to make big dots, and I have a can to make medium-sized dots. So we're going to start by tracing a dot onto our paper. Now I'm going to use this big dot to start with. I'm going to go all the way around the edges with my crayon like this. So I get a big nice circle on my paper. Now mine's not perfect, but if you take your time, yours will be. Now what I'm going to do is a dot like Vashti did in the story. She made a dot where there was no dot. And I know that sounds weird, but if we color in the area around our dot, we can make a dot where there is no dot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my crayons to color all the space around my dot for this dot. I'm just going to add color where I want it. Now you might want to do it in a special pattern or design that you like, but I'm just kind of going willy-nilly here so that I can fill in space where my dot is not. I'm going to color everywhere around my dot for this one. I want to use lots of colors because that's what's going to make it look good. We've kind of done some things like this in art class before. We actually call the space around something negative space in art. And negative space is just as important as the thing you're drawing or coloring sometimes. So this will help you remember that. And I definitely need to add some green because green is my favorite color if you remember from class. I told you guys that lots of times. Green is my favorite color. Okay, so I almost have my drawing of a dot where a dot is not, just like Vashti did in the story. Okay, let me turn it sideways and you can see it better. All right, so that's one dot. Now there are so many other ways you can make a dot piece of art. You could trace a dot and color where the dot is instead of where the dot is not. You can decorate your dot. I'm sure you were guessing that was something we were going to do. And you can make it look any way you want it to because this is your art. We get to be very creative with this art activity because there's so many different ways you can think about a dot, right? Some of you might be thinking something completely different than what I'm thinking, and that's why art is awesome, because we get to use our minds and our imaginations to come up with new ideas. Okay, so I just made a dot, and I've made a dot where the dot is not. But there's so many other things you can do with a dot. I'm going to show you some examples of some other things I've done. These are some dots. I traced the can for this one, my medium-sized tracer. I made a pizza out of a dot, a smiley face out of a dot, a piece of candy out of a dot, and I even made a clock out of a dot. So for this activity, I want you to think about all the ways you can make a dot. You can make lots of dots. You can make one dot. You can make as many as you want. And it's really fun to think of all the different things you can decide to make with a dot. Now, as usual, I would love for you to send me a picture of your work on Dojo because it makes me smile and I'd love to see what ideas you have in your mind. So until next time, I hope you have a great week and happy art making.